Welcome to this very special edition of Strange New Pod. I am your Fleet Admiral and host, Julian Brown, alongside the best bridge crew, this side of a fully armed to the teeth Klingon bird of prey. Joining me today for this one is Captain Hawk, and we are honored to be joined by a very special guest this morning, the man behind the ridges of General Turned-chancellor Martok. JG Hertzler is here. Welcome to the show, sir.
It's a great pleasure, and I want you to know I began my career as Captain Kangaroo. So beyond that, I have really little to offer.
Oh, I love that. Well, it is great to have you. I see that you are having a celebratory being on our pod beer. As I was saying off the mic, I like to drink on the show, but I haven't finished my coffee yet. So I'm on the coffee this morning.
Julian, what's interesting about this, and I didn't notice when I got it, I just knew the name was Dirty Bastard.
Yeah,
I didn't know the brewery was you can't see it.
It's Founders.
The Founders.
Yeah.
I said, oh, that's dangerous.
All connected.
It's all connected. Yeah. Founders is actually a really good brewery. I work at a brewery as well, so I'm familiar. Yep. Locally here in Pennsylvania. So
where?
It's called Broken Goblet. It's in Bensalem.
Because my whole family is from Pennsylvania.
Oh, awesome.
I mean, Hertzler is an Amish name, first of all, and it was Jacob Hertzler was an Amishman. He was the first Amish bishop in this country in 1749. And but my great grandfather was Noah Hertzler, and they lived in where was Noah? Oh, he lived over in Hamburg, not too far from Allentown.
Yep, I know Allentown very well.
Pennsylvania. Yeah. In fact, his stone house is still there on Route 322.
Yeah, 322. Yep.
We actually have a Hamburg near Kitchener. We were talking about earlier. Same thing. Like mostly, actually, right now it's mostly Amish community there.
Well, there you go. They love their Hamburg. Hamburg. You say Hamburg, I say. Oh, I was watching your pod. I was listening to Mirror Mirrors, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes, and I have a question.
Yes.
Not necessarily that was brought up there, but it occurred to me when I was listening. What's your explanation for the explosion of sci-fi and fantasy on the telly nowadays, more than ever?
I mean, I personally think it has to do with just like the current times we live in, no matter which part of the political divide you want to go on. I think between that and the recession that we had in the early 2000s, I think people just kind of want an escape again. I think people want to look to the future again and kind of, think bigger, because, it's been hard times a little bit, down here on lowly earth. So yeah. I think that has a lot to do with, like, I just started binge watching For All Mankind from Ron Moore. And I mean, that show is amazing, and it definitely takes me out of whatever I have going on for as many episodes as I watch. And I think that's a big part of it.
Ron Moore's a genius. I mean,
yes, he is
a fabulous genius. I wanted to add a couple of lines in a scene that I had with another one of your damn Canadians, John Colicos.
Yes.
Playing core on the final episode for him. He wanted a noble death aboard my ship, and I was happy to give it to him because my whole family, the Martok clan, hated him because he was the reason in the backstory for Martok that my father did not get the only hope that he had for his son was because Core said, no, he can't go to officers training. He can't go to, what's it called? OCS, Officers Candidate School. Because he's not noble. I was born in garbage heaps, basically.
I remember that episode very well. Yeah.
Yeah. And I refused to drink with the rest of the cast, drink to his demise, to his honor, because Martok holds grudges, and so does John, unfortunately.
Oh,
And it was not, I was not going to excuse him from what he did to my family. But Colicos, I found out later, I looked around for a gift to give to John Colicos at the end of that episode, because that was his goodbye to Star Trek. And he had been there a long time, you know, since '66. And I found a book, a used book in a, you know, one of the antiquarian bookstores, and it was a 1952 yearbook of Broadway, and it was a book about all the shows that opened and closed on Broadway in 1952, in the '52 season.
that's awesome.
And he was in there playing Petruchio in Taming of the Shrew. Do you know who his leading lady was?
No.
Being Canadian, you should know this.
Hawk.
Uh-oh. I don't. I'm really curious to find the answer.
Katharine effing Hepburn.
Wow.
He played Petruchio opposite Katharine Hepburn.
Whoa.
And, you know, when I saw that, I said, boy, I was lucky to be working with this guy. That's the golden age of theater.
Oh my God.
That's
and film.
incredible. Wow.
So I that, you know, he was just like so many of the aliens in Star Trek, huge theater background. Star Trek hired more people that had spent their earlier years doing outdoor Shakespeare for 5 people and studying at decent schools. I never studied. I never went to I wanted to go to I didn't even know about Juilliard. I worked for the Folger Theater. I did several roles for the Folger.
Where's the Folger Theater again? That sounds so familiar.
The Folger Shakespeare Library is in DC. They also have an exact 1/5 replica of the Globe Theater. And the Folger Theater Company did productions of Shakespeare there forever and ever. And I was part of the company from 73 to 78. Anyway, this is my book, which it's available on Amazon. Confessions of a Klingon Linebacker.
Such a good title.
That character right there, I'll try to get closer, but I'm afraid it'll disappear.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
But we can kind of see it. Yeah.
Was Thurio. Fop. I had a red Buster Brown wig, purple clothing, and I was usually pouting about something. But I love the Folger. I worked with some fabulous British transplants, people that, guys that were in their 60s and 70s probably, that were working in the US, because even though England does respect the idea of theater much more than America does, Canada does. They celebrate theater much more than the US.
Stratford.
I don't know why we have no great respect for the history of the theater. I think it might be because of John Wilkes Booth. He ruined theater for the American people,
Oh, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
But he gave us a great saying. So other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, what'd you think of the play?
We like to play sound bites on this show, and I think that is definitely worthy of one of these from Captain Benjamin Sisko himself.
I want to know what the hell is going on.
Yes. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, what a great actor. Avery, and a scary guy. He's so impressive. He was in one episode. This is before I had become the real Martok. I was still a
You were still changeling Martok, right?
I think I was a change. No, I'm not sure. It must have been after the turn. Anyway, I had a scene where I had to talk to Cisco through, he was in jail, and I had to talk to him. He was behind bars. And behind him, about 30, 40 feet, were Miles and Renee, completely dressed and made up as Klingons. They were transitioned into Klingons. And they were like 3-year-olds back there saying, "Hey, I'm a Klingon, look at me, look at me." Ooh, scary, scary. And doing that kind of stuff back there while I had this incredibly long speech to Cisco quietly through bars. And if they I don't know how to do it, but the bars are like, if you move too far to your left, you get lost. The same thing. You got to keep exactly right between those bars to be able to see. The camera, for some reason, can't adjust. But they were back there dancing and laughing and look at me, I'm a Klingon, baby. You know, and finally Avery turned around and said, "Gentlemen, there is an actor working up here."
That sounds like
And
something Patrick Stewart would say.
Yes, and they froze. I mean, Renee Aubergenois and Miles, they froze. And they did not move again back there.
Oh,
It was
man.
very funny. The
That's
captain
amazing.
scared the shit out of them.
Oh, I love it. Oh man, these are great stories. We're I think gonna get into a few more. JG, a big reason that we do have you on today, though, is we're all going to be headed. Well, not Hawk, unfortunately, because we know that Hawk is a hologram. But you and I are going to be heading up to New York in a couple of weeks for the second ever edition of Trek Long Island.
I live in New York,
and you live in New York, so it's an easy trip for
but
you.
it's a long ass drive over to Long Island. I gotta say.
It's never easy getting to Long Island. I grew up in Queens and then Long Island, and now I live here, and it's a nightmare. This year you're going to be this year you're going to be part of the big DS9 panel with Armin Shimmerman, Chase Masterson, and Kitty Swink. And I know just from hanging out with you a little bit on the last day last year, it seemed like you just had a blast at Trek Long Island, and we certainly had a blast with you. You always seem to like really enjoy the convention scene. How excited are you to return to Trek Long Island this year?
I am absolutely excited, mainly because I'm a money grubbing son of a bitch, but mainly because I didn't have my book last year.
Oh, there you go.
It was published in October, and so I hopefully am going to sell some books. Confessions of a Klingon Linebacker. And this year, there's not only my book is going to be there, but a guy's coming from Australia, Darren Galea from Australia. He's an armorer. He's bringing many heavy-duty steel batleths.
Ooh.
I'm going to sign them all.
Oh.
And he's there for him. And if anybody wants to buy them, they can. But I'm looking forward to the batleths. Trek Long Island last year was a hoot. It was the first year.
Yeah. Yep.
And this is the second, and I think they did very well, mainly because of me. But I think they did very well in terms of attendance, and this year looks even better. So, but Kitty's going to be there. Kitty and Armin. Is Robin? Who else is going to be there?
I think Robin was there last year. I don't think she's coming this year, but we have a bunch of the actors from Strange New Worlds coming this year.
Right.
Yeah, Melissa Navia is going to be there. Yatiti Badaki, who was in Ad Astra per Aspera, the big trial episode for number one, who's fantastic. A whole ton. Gabrielle Ruiz, who plays T'Lyn on Lower Decks. So that's people are really excited for her.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Lower Decks. It seems to be written and performed by speed freaks because it is the fastest Star Trek. I would like to show one episode of Lower Decks against the first movie of Star Trek, because the first movie of Star Trek was lugubrious. It sounds like a racetrack compared to how slow that movie was.
I know.
Don't you agree? It was just bum, bum, bum.
I think that movie is visually beautiful. The score is beautiful, but it is a slog.
It really is. It
It is a slog. And
it
God
sometimes-
bless it. It is a slog. But Lower Decks, I think this is the last season, unfortunately, right?
Unfortunately, yeah,
Yeah.
coming up. Yeah.
Coming up. I believe that if you broke this up to the normal pace of any Star Trek anything, you'd have at least 12 seasons already in the can.
Yeah.
Because these guys talk so fast. The information is so fast and the jokes are so funny, but they're gone. Boom. That I think they burned the candle at both ends on that one. But it's hilarious, you know, and I adore it, and I was lucky to be on it.
Yeah, I would love seeing you on it. That was a wonderful little cameo on your part. We love that. I mean, Lower Decks holds such a special place in our heart. You know, when we first started the show, that was the first Star Trek series before Strange New Worlds came out that we started covering week to week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was I got to do two things. I got a little thing of Martok in the third season, which was a game show host of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, the Dungeons and Dragons was so great.
Love that. But earlier I did the Drukmani captain.
Yes.
And the Drukmani captain, as impossible as it may seem, was like a Klingon on steroids. You know? And I love doing him. I don't know why I get those parts, but somehow I do.
I think it worked perfectly for you. It was great. Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah, I loved it too. And I loved working with them. I was able to record it out here in Syracuse with the guys on the line. I don't know. There's 4 letters I keep forgetting. IMDb? No, not IMDb.
You talking about for recording?
Yes, because
it's not ADR, right? ADR is after the fact.
No, they can be remotely, and they were in LA. But listening to me while I'm doing it and able to feed back immediately about push that or
that's cool. That. Nice.
Where is Spotted Giraffe? That's my first question.
Girafe couldn't be here today because she lives out in San Diego, but she did have a question for you because apparently you took a picture, or there's a picture of her with you in that captain's chair, and she's been dying from Trek Long Island, and she's been dying to know if you have that picture. So she'd like you to look for it.
I don't know. If I wasn't in it, the chances are less that I did it.
But she was like a holodeck version of Mariner with like this black makeup on her eyes, and we were all huddled at the bridge, like the bridge picture, and I was in a Lower Decks uniform, and she was like holding me like this, and apparently there's a picture that you took that she really wants. I'll have to
You know how many pictures I have from after 26 years?
I would guess thousands upon thousands.
I think it's in the 6 figures. But I can look for it. It might be on the net, and in my reserved pictures.
Yeah, there you go.
But my questions for her were happy hour coordinator, lizard baby, and snack aficionado. By just those 3, I said, she's my favorite person.
I wish that she can like hop in here real quick because she would love to hear that. She is our happy hour coordinator. We do a monthly happy hour for our Patreons every month. And that's a lot of fun. Yeah. And she does like to snack a lot. I've had a lot of meals and drinks with Girafe, and she doesn't eat a lot of like big meals, but she knows how to snack really well.
A super snacker.
A super snacker. Exactly.
Well, I don't eat much junk food. But one day on the lot at Paramount, oh shit, I wish I had that picture. I got a bunch of pictures and things, but I don't have the picture I'm thinking about. I was in a golf cart with about half of my costume on. I didn't have the tunic, but I had the full head makeup. Yeah. And I was driving the golf cart across the lot to go to the commissary, I think, to grab something to eat. And a guy stopped me and said, JG, would you mind saying a little something, saying hello to my tour group? There was a tour group. And I said, oh, of course, I'd love to. Because I there's nothing, I don't know if you guys have picked this up, but there's nothing I love more than talking about myself.
Well, I mean, we like hearing about you.
Yes.
So, I mean, no complaints there.
Good. So I stopped. I said, somebody asked me about my, one of the tour guys asked me about my teeth because I had my Klingon teeth in, they would look like that guy back behind you. And I said, yes, they're not my real teeth. My real teeth are very nice. I mean, these teeth are more like the British dental condition. And then
Big
I said,
Book of British Smiles.
are there any British people in this tour group? Half of the people raised their hand. And I said, well, it could be worse. You could be suffering from French frogdom with it. Yeah. Are there any French people in this tour? And I swear to you, this is true. The other half of the tour raised their hands. And I said, goodbye. I got out of there. There was no saving myself on that one.
Well, at least you had a golf cart to get yourself
out
of there real quick.
Get on it.
Adieu.
Oh, man. Amazing.
So this book is about two parts of my life that changed my life. One is when I was a linebacker, played for Bucknell University, and that was the important part of my earlier life was sports. And then not too long after graduation, I worked for the government, federal government, for a couple of years, but in the Nixon administration, of all things. In fact, I was in the Watergate, in the same office that the plumbers were in who broke into Watergate the night before the day that they broke in, the night that they broke in. I was making they have a little radio station in there. It was the DNC headquarters. And they did DNC commercials out of there, Democratic National Committee headquarters. And I was in there making a spoken version over top of the song, "That'll Be the Day When You Say Goodbye." It was about getting out of Vietnam, and but anyway, I was in the water. I was working. I literally was part of the people that organized government workers against Nixon's inauguration. And we raised money out on the mall out there by the Washington Monument. Who's that?
That's
Hi.
Girafe.
That's Girafe. I told her you wanted to see her, so I made her come.
Girafe.
I was driving to work.
You're driving?
No, I'm parked. I'm parked at work right now.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Is that that's a small window in the back. Is that some sort of a Rolls Royce or?
Yes, exactly. Yes, I draw, like, for everybody who knows my car, that's going to be very funny.
It's true.
I have a very small car, a very small clown funny car.
Well, I had a question for you, Spotted Girafe. You're snack aficionado. Yeah, what does that include?
That includes.
What's your favorite snack?
Well, for that joke, it's a reference to Lower Decks. So
Oh, it
like
is.
gorgeous men are called snacks.
Ooh, so I would be a major snack then.
Exactly, you're a
Mundo?
major snack. Yes.
I also
I've
told
always thought of
JG
myself
though.
as a 3-course meal, but we won't go there.
I told JG that I've spent many a meal and a drink with you though, and that you do actually like to snack a lot.
For a French person, yes.
Yeah.
We don't snack in French, so I learned to snack here. I like
You learn
snacks.
snacking where?
In the US.
She's French.
Oh,
Yeah.
were you in France?
Right now, no, I'm in San
No,
Diego.
but you were
but
born
I
in
grew up in
France?
France. Yes.
Oh, where?
In Lyon.
Lyon, on the way to Switzerland. Yes.
Exactly. Yes.
I stopped in. Bob and I did Bob O'Reilly. We did conventions not in Lyon, but we did one in Paris. Does life get any better than that for anybody to actually do a convention in Paris and be paid for it? And have the airline. I'm sorry. I am, if I were not me saying this and hearing somebody else say it, I'd be pissed off and, oh, fuck you to me. But I'm saying, I grew up on Air Force bases. My dad was a Air Force officer. My mother was a high school teacher and of French and Latin. And so I chose.
Me too.
Yeah,
That's what
really?
I teach, French and Latin. Yeah.
You teach that?
Yeah.
Mom. French and Latin. I didn't stick with the French, but Latin got me my first role on Star Trek.
Really?
Ah,
Yes, and you would know this. Do I call you G? G?
Yeah, you can call me G. Yeah. You're JG and I'm G.
Okay. I was auditioning for a part of a Klingon, and it was for a CD-ROM called Klingon, and Bob O'Reilly was the star because Galron was there, and Jonathan Frakes was directing, and I was literally reading for Jonathan Frakes and a few other people that were sitting around, and I said, I don't want to be I don't know how to pronounce Klingon. There was a big part in the script that was all in Klingon. I said, I don't want to embarrass myself. I don't know what these words mean, and I don't know what I'm saying, and I don't know how to say it. So what can I do? I'll use a foreign language. I'll speak French. I don't have enough French, and it sounds like French. How about German? Yeah, I don't know any German though, but Russian would be perfect. Don't know a word of Russian. I'll speak Latin. I had memorized a few speeches through the years of taking Latin. Cicero's fourth oration against Catiline. You know it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I got to, no, Worf, it is not important to say, Pos pectandum abutere Catilina patientia nostra, quod filum nos eludet, immovero insonatus haec intelligit, immovero! That's what Jonathan Frakes was doing, G. He just started laughing when I finished. And he said, Mr. Hertzler, I can honestly say nobody has ever auditioned with Latin for me before. And I loved Latin, he said. So there's nothing in this CD-ROM for you, but I'll ask the writer to write you in. And that was the first Klingon I played in any Star Trek event.
That's
That's
incredible.
amazing.
But
I actually have to go and teach the youth. So
Giraffe, real quick
let me ask you
before
a
you
quick
go.
question, G.
Oh, okay.
Did your
Yes.
mother, or do you? I'm sorry, it was my mother, but it was you also. Do you spend in the evening a great deal of time looking at grade books and giving this classes the letter grades in there?
Yeah, I'm very nice grader. I don't like
Yeah,
giving bad grades,
I
so I
bet.
always find some points somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have so many memories of my mother at the dining room table. This table that I'm sitting at right now, giving those grades to her students in Latin and French. And she wasn't
Yep.
tough either, I'm sure, but it was like, oh, I don't want to get an F in being the son. I better do something good. I don't know, anyway, you know what I mean.
Giraffe, real quick, I
Yes.
asked JG the question about the picture, but I think I described it horribly. Could you describe the picture better than I can, real quick?
I was dressed as a Romulan, and we took a picture together.
Where
Somebody
was it?
working for you at Trek Long Island. Somebody working with you.
Oh, it was at
or
Trek Long Island.
yeah.
Oh, then I probably have that. I got to find it because that's just last year. Yeah,
I want to see that picture very much.
I will do my damnedest,
Thank
even if I
you.
have to draw it.
Oh,
that'd be cool.
all right. I really have to go. I'm really sorry. Thank you.
Bye, Giraffe.
It's wonderful to
Bye-bye.
meet you, G. Yes. Gigi.
She's great.
Oh, I'm glad she made it.
Indeed. That was great. Yeah.
So JG,
And,
this past January, DS9 turned 31 years old, and 31 years later, the amount of traction and conversation DS9 ignites in the fandom to this day sometimes makes it feel like the show is still on the air. As Martok, you played such an important role in the series. From your point of view, what makes DS9 special and the way it's still talked about today?
one of the things, oddly enough, that does make it special, as compared to Voyager, as compared to the things that came before, Next Generation. You know, Next Generation is what really got me, captured me because of Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, me too.
Sir Patrick, at 93, 83 now, right? He's 84, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I think he's 10 years. He was born in 1940. I was born in 1950. And Patrick was my personal hero because of his mastery, his masterwork in Shakespeare. Like Ian McKellen, those two just blow me away. And Patrick started a workshop on the lot at Paramount because his goal was to build a new Shakespeare company in Los Angeles. And I knew about it because I wasn't on Next Generation, but I had heard about it because Jennifer Hetrick is a cousin of mine from Central Pennsylvania. The Hetrick is a Central PA name.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me about this, and I ended up driving Patrick around Hollywood looking at places that I knew about that might be suitable to do his workshop and have a space to perform. And he finally realized that there was no place better than on the lot at Paramount Pictures. So he held the workshop on the music recording studio stage. It's a huge building, but every inch of the wall and ceiling is fitted with wooden pivoting boards that change the resonance of the room. That's why they used it as a for the music and the big movies, the films they recorded in there. And so we did Shakespeare in there. And at one point, I was very lucky. I was one of 15 people that was okayed to be in this workshop. James Avery was in it, but it was a great group of people. They were all either in Next Generation or I was the only one from DS9, but elsewhere that Patrick knew and invited in. And at one point he said he quoted the Scottish play, which we always say Scottish play because it's a curse to mention the name of this particular Shakespearean play, and you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yep. Very much so.
So he mentioned the play and then started quoting. I said, Patrick, you can't do that. He said, I said, you. He said, oh, bollocks that. And so I said, okay, I'm going out the door and I'm going to turn around 3 times and I'm going to spit over my left shoulder. I'm going to knock to get back in, and I'll be your proxy for that because that's something that you should be doing. He said, fine. So I did that. And from that day on, I really have my doubts about that. I'm very superstitious, but because Patrick bollocks that, I don't have as much fear of that. But he then started getting like $12 million to do the roles on X-Men. So the Shakespeare Festival went out the window.
Oh no.
The workshop. Too bad he couldn't anyway. But he would spend every Saturday, we'd spend 8 hours in this class, and it was unbelievable. It was fabulous. One time he couldn't make it, so he brought in a substitute. And that substitute one time was Georgia Brown, but who did the female in Oliver. But the other major one was Ben Kingsley.
Oh, Ben Kingsley. Yes. Yep.
Ben Kingsley came in.
Yep.
To teach the class. And then Ben Kingsley, we went to get some Chinese food afterwards. And I was lucky enough to be in the car with him and somebody else. And he said, "And what is it with this Kenneth Branagh? You know, he's 24 years old. He wrote his autobiography. At 24, he was pissed." I just got to laugh at it. Ben Kingsley, you know, what a phenomenal actor. Kenneth Branagh, who has proved himself to be everything he
amazing.
Yes, would hope ever to be any actor.
Yeah.
Kenneth Branagh. I should tell him that story if I ever talk to him. I've never met him. Oh, I got a quick question.
Yes.
You mentioned, I think Julian, it was you. I think you mentioned Brian Fuller's Hannibal.
Oh, that was you, Hawk, right?
Yes.
Yes, Hawk loved.
Yeah.
Yep.
What Hannibal is that? Is that the Hannibal Lecter? Or is the Hannibal?
So Brian Fuller, back in 2013, adapted the novel Red Dragon for TV. To explore not just Hannibal Lecter, but also the character Will Graham from the series.
Okay.
So it ran for 3 seasons on NBC, and it was it's still my favorite thing that he's ever done. It is very.
I've never heard of it. I'd like to see it.
I think it's streaming through their Peacock service, but any way you can find it, it is a fantastic series.
All right.
Yeah.
Is that the one with I can't remember the actors. Mads Mikkelsen.
Mads Mikkelsen plays Hannibal Lecter. Hugh Dancy plays Will Graham in it, and Lawrence Fishburne plays Jack Crawford, the director of the FBI Behavioral Science Unit.
Right.
Yeah, fantastic.
Well, I didn't
series.
know whether it was Hannibal. I didn't even know about that series. Now I got to watch it, but I didn't know there was also a series, Hannibal, about Hannibal Barca, the guy who basically the Roman army for a long time.
The Hannibal from history.
The Carthaginian, yeah.
Yes, the elephants and everything.
Because that was Sid. That was the guy who played Hannibal was Alexander Siddig from Deep Space Nine.
Oh, I'll have to check that out. That sounds awesome.
He played Hannibal. And
Nice.
I love Sid. Sid's one of my most favorite people from all time on the show. Sid and the Hoofer from New York. Not Terry, although Terry was just a godsend. But
Nana Visitor?
Nana, yeah, Nana Visitor.
Ah.
She is the one who welcomed me to the cast, like nobody else did. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really something to walk in as a new person into a company of actors that is so, it's like a family, and you say, oh, this is your new brother-in-law, you know. That would be Martok, and they say, oh, really? Fine, let's see. And she's the one who said, no, you belong here, this is good. And I'll never forget that.
You know, we were talking about like what makes DS9 special, and a lot of the stories that we hear are how that cast really was a family. But you were only supposed to be a one-off character, which is very famously documented. But after the Changeling arc with Gowron, Ron Moore and the whole team, we were talking about Ron Moore and how he's a genius earlier. Obviously, he knew you were in amazed. They liked you. They liked the character of Martok. Yeah, they wanted to bring you back on the show. So I wanted to know, kind of as an actor, when you get a one-off role like this, right, where you think it's going to be a one-off, and then all of a sudden you become a series regular. What goes through your head there? Like, were you ever expecting that? Like, all of a sudden be, you know, on a very good amount of Deep Space Nine episodes?
No, an actor never expects that. We have no idea. We're the last people that know anything. Um, uh, maybe that was my approach to acting. I don't know. But there are probably many actors that do very well because they know how to parlay things into more. I don't know anything about as I said, it's an Amish background, and the Amish are not noted for their business acumen. I don't know why. I do know when I watch the show now, when I watch me on the show now, I say, you know, I really believed I was Martok.
Mm.
And so everything that I said was honestly what I felt. I wasn't putting up a false image. I believed Martok believes in his soul whatever he says he's talking about and defending or attacking. And I noticed that about myself. I said, that is, you know, everything. I tried to be honest with everything that I said or did as that character. And I guess it reads to people. It read to me when I watched it. Years later, and I said, oh, maybe. But you put on that makeup that Michael Westmore did my first makeup.
Legend, by the way.
The whole family, I mean, back from 1920s on, the Westmore family has been in the film TV business in Hollywood. It's an amazing family history in filmmaking. And a wonderful man.
Yeah.
You know, there was nothing, just a very simple, he came across as not, just a very good man. One of the greats of Hollywood. And Ira came to me and said, after I came back for the one episode, returned from one episode as the scarred Martok.
Yep.
And he said, Ira Bear, being the showrunner for the show and the executive producer, said, I think, JG, don't worry, I think we'll be able to give you an artificial eye, and you'll be fine. I said, no, don't fix this eye. First of all, I don't use it anyway. I have a bad left eye.
Oh, okay.
Said, don't try to fix it. Um, this is the perfect Klingon. In Shakespeare's Coriolanus, Coriolanus runs for office against his better judgment. He runs for political office, being a general of the Roman army forever and ever. He runs, and one of the things they had to do when you run for office back in the Roman Republic was show your cicatrices, which are cuts and bruises and broken bones. And you had to literally reveal them to the audience that's listening to your campaign speak. This is what I've given to this country, to Rome. And I said, it's like Coriolanus, don't take this scar away. That is what I've given for the Klingon Empire. And he said, oh, okay.
Just like that. I love it.
Let's make up for him.
Yeah.
Or actually, it was more makeup for him, and maybe that's, yeah. But he was fine with it. And I was going to say earlier about Ira, the guy who produced DS9, the showrunner. Ira, which is very unique.
Mhm.
Ira loves actors.
Yeah.
And it was funny. The people in that show, he found every excuse imaginable to have a party or a dinner out or whatever after the show was over. He'd get a call from, say, do you feel like going to a gathering here at wherever? He didn't want to say goodbye to that group, and it was great.
I love that.
I have nothing but great things to say about Ira and all the writers, the producers from the beginning, Robert Hewitt Wolf, and it's interesting. One of the guys' names was Hans. One of the writers was Hans Beimler. Hans, it's like named after, I think Boiler is named after him.
Oh.
But his grandfather was a member of the Abraham Lincoln Brigade.
Oh.
Do you know what that is?
No.
The Abraham Lincoln Brigade was the American, the Canadians were called the McKay's, McKay group or something. But the Americans were the Abraham Lincoln Brigade. They volunteered to fight Franco in 1936 when the Spanish Civil War began. They volunteered to go over to Spain and fight against the forces of Hitler, which was basically Francisco Franco, who had just wanted to eliminate the Democratic Republic of Spain and change it into a fascist nation, which he did.
Yeah.
Eventually, after he defeated the brigades that came from around the world to fight him. So anyway, when I did Zorro in Spain, we shot in Spain, and I took a ride one day on the Teleferique, which is a cable car that goes over the Manzanares River that goes right next to, right through Madrid. And I saw on the other side of the Manzanares River, there were hills looked like troughs in them. They were like raised longitudinal long trenches. And I said to a guy it was by myself. I said, what's that? What are all those trenches? And he said, that's where Franco's artillery was placed to bomb the downtown part of Madrid, which they did, and the University of Madrid. Because I had never heard of the Spanish Civil War, besides knowing loosely something about Hemingway's, For Whom the Bell Tolls, so I began researching it. And I ended up in 1996, I started writing a screenplay called Dancing with Sancho Panza. And I'm still writing the screenplay
Oh wow.
called Dancing with Sancho Panza. But Ed Asner loved it. He called me out of the blue and said, John, you don't know, this is Ed Asner. And I got your, I mailed it out cold to people. And he said, I liked it a lot. And can you come in to talk to me? I said, this is Ed Asner? He said, yeah. I said, yeah, right. Calling me out of the blue. And I was working on the garage at that point. And I said, yeah. So we had a couple meetings and we became fast friends. I adored Ed Asner, adored him. It was such a loss to lose him. But even after his passing, about 2 months ago, I got a letter from SAG that I was owed a hunk of money because of what SAG did in canceling the health insurance for a lot of senior performers out of the blue. And Ed led that lawsuit against his own union. And he was president of that union earlier. But he won. He had already passed away. But the decision came down that he had won, and many SAG members will be getting some money to make up for that loss of health care. Just a hell of a guy. I mean, he says, you can't take, I'm just an old pinko commie, so you can't really, you can't trust me about my judgment about it,
Yeah.
but about the screenplay. But he spent a lot of time together, and I just, so sorry to see him go. I met him too late in life,
Yeah.
A lot of people did, but I always love the fact that a whole generation of kids grew up knowing him from the movie Up.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. One of the things that I really liked hearing you say a few minutes ago was how, like, you really felt like the words that you were speaking, like, as Martok are you, right? And you were quoted saying, I love this quote, by the way, because you got to work with Michael Dorn a lot with Worf. Worf finally had a friend, somebody that he could communicate with. Their agenda is not one of scheming or plotting or politicking. It's warrior to warrior. I think that's what the writers like about Martok. Plus, he's a crusty old bastard. And that's from you, and I love that quote. But
Yeah.
what I really like about that too is, like, whenever you two were on screen together, I mean, Martok definitely was curmudgeon-y, but Worf was also a curmudgeon. So you had this, like, great curmudgeon duo on screen going on these Klingon adventures. I just want to know, kind of, like, how fun was it to do that with Michael Dorn?
It was fun, not only with Dorney, but with Avery as well. It was like working with Dorney. Dorney's very exceedingly quiet, and he's got a lot of walls built up in terms of, he's not easy to get to know. And I don't know. I don't know about his family history or really anything. But in terms, he would make fun of me when I'd say something in a strange inflection. He'd repeat it back to me, and I said, "Oh, did I sound like that?" He said, "Yes." And one of those was he was directing. He's a wonderful director too. The other
100%.
another wonderful director was LeVar Burton. LeVar did a great job. LeVar said to me when he was directing, my two favorite episodes are Soldiers of the Empire and Once More Into the Breach. And LeVar was directing Soldiers of the Empire. And he said, okay, now I want you to sit here in the captain's seat, and I'm going to give you the Shatner shot, which means the camera's placed really low, shooting up at me in the captain's chair. He said, "This is the Shatner shot because it makes you look like a god. You know, it's fabulous." And he said, "By the way, JG, I just am stunned at how much emotion you get into with just one eye. I don't know." I said, "What are you talking about? You didn't have any eyes, and people love the emotion that you displayed." He said, "Oh, yeah, I guess that's true." Um, but Michael said one time, we were, I don't know what episode it was, but we were all sitting around the conference table planning the defense or attack on the Cardassians. I don't remember which. But I said something like, it's important the Cardassians understand. And somebody said, "Well, you know, the Cardassians something." And I said, "The Cardassians are like that." And forever, Michael would imitate that 15 octave rise in my voice of frustration every time we saw each other. And I what can I say? I loved working with Michael and any scenes I got with Michael. Such a private person and such a giving person at the same time. So really a strange combo. But and he flew jets.
Yeah, he did.
He flies jets.
Yep.
He had an F-86 Sabre jet.
Yep.
That he flew into I can't remember the name of the airport, little private airport in the valley in LA. Whiteman.
Yeah.
Whiteman Airport. He flew his F-86 1951 era Sabre jet. You know, it was used in this Korean War.
He did a whole interview with Dominic Keating and Connor Trinnier on their Shuttle Pod show, talking about that's the first time I learned that he was a pilot too, and how much he loves flying. It's incredible. Yeah,
amazing. And Dominic, I love that. I love those. Connor, I don't think I've ever been on this show, but I've always wanted, because
they're starting a new one up, so you should get on there.
Well, I live out here, and it's hard for them to plan.
Right.
But we at one convention, I asked Dominic if he would do something totally selfless for me. Bob and I were on stage at the convention dressed as our mothers. And Gary Lockwood from 2001. Gary Lockwood, is that right? Yes. One of the two guys. There was the Frenchman.
I know his name. Oh God, I'm trying to think. I know his name.
I'm leaving this one to you guys. I have no idea.
From 2001, Keir Dullea.
Keir Dullea. Yes, Keir Dullea was the French guy. Well, the French actor, but he was the American, the astronaut. And Gary Lockwood was the other. And Gary Lockwood, Gary, I think they say to Keir or Gary, "I'm sorry, Dave, I can't do that." The voice comes up. And I asked Dominic, I said, "Dominic, would you mind being in this little skit I want to do with Gary Lockwood from 2001? I want to play Also Sprach Zarathustra, bum, 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 the Also Sprach. And I would like you, Dominic, to be the monument." This large rectangular gray thing. So he put him in a refrigerator box with a little slit so he could see out of it. And whenever Lockwood got on stage, the monument would start entering. And Lockwood would basically say, "I can't get rid of it. get away from me. And he would just basically chase him across the stage.
Oh my
It
God.
was a crowd favorite, but almost moronic idea. But I loved it. And Gary, the fact that Dominic Keating actually would do it, and Gary Lockwood bought into it. Leave me alone.
Amazing.
Anyway.
A personal question. Like SNL and its Five Timers Club, you are one of 5 actors to play 7 or more roles throughout various iterations of Trek on television. So, not including Martok, do you have a personal favorite?
Oh, I think the personal favorite has got to be the Drukmani captain in Lower Decks. I mean, that was just outrageous. You know, yeah, I had a blast doing that. Let me think a second. I have I got to like wrestle with Seven of Nine a little bit.
Yes.
That was awfully nice, I must say. As I played a Herodian
Yep.
warrior.
Yeah, I love that episode.
Yeah, that was and that was The Rock. That was Dwayne Johnson on that episode, who was to become the biggest name in Hollywood. You know,
It's funny because that whole episode came about because SmackDown at the time was on UPN and Voyager was on UPN. So they're like, we're going
There
to
you
get
go.
The Rock, you know, in the big show on
Yeah.
Star Trek Voyager. I love that so
Synergy.
much. Yeah, synergy.
It was unbelievable. Yeah, that was just, you know, so many things. Maybe it was because, what's his name? Gene Roddenberry, I think that's the name. I can't
Yep.
remember. Was such a futurist, such a great writer about the potential for mankind in the future. That's what gets me about so many of the new shows. There's me as the Herodian.
Oh, there he is. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. This is what I live for now. I love these guys. This was in Scheveningen, Netherlands. It's where is it? That's Lolita. Where is this is Jared Way, isn't it? Garrett?
Garrett. Yeah, that's
Wang.
Garrett.
Garrett
Yep.
Wang.
Yep.
Robin, is that Robin Curtis?
Maybe.
That's me back there.
Hey.
And that's the Dabo girl.
Chase Masterson.
Chase, yes,
Yeah.
Chase. And I forget this name.
I can't see the photo that well, so I don't know. Oh no, come back.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah.
But you know, the families that for an actor, the families that you have through your life, if you continue. I've been doing it for over 50 years, and I have families spread out all over the place. There's another family. This was
beautiful.
Zorro in Spain. And this is my horse, Zorro's horse, Mariposa. Not Zorro's horse. I played the Alcalde.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just basically going out for a ride. I said, do you mind? We have a long time between them. Can I take Mariposa out and just go ride out into the wilderness? And it wasn't like a trail ride in America where you done.
Right.
It was like.
Well, JG, you're talking about how you've been doing this for 50 years. You're showing us all these amazing pictures, which are incredible, by the way. So you must know then that Michael Dorn returned as Worf in Picard season 3. Do you think
I haven't watched much of it? Yes, I know that, and he used the white wig and
he did.
Yeah,
he looked really good. So,
and I resent that because that was my idea. I said I'm tired of, coloring in my beard and mustache when I go to cons. I'm just gonna get a white wig and let that be. And so
I love it.
Yeah, but I think he actually did it before me.
Yeah, but I know from behind the scenes interviews and stuff, he actually wanted to keep the brown and the beard and the thing, but Terry Metalis was like, no, we're gonna do the old wise man and make you
Oh,
with the
good.
white hair. I liked it.
Yeah,
But my
yeah,
question
I
with
did
that
too.
is, do you think there are more Martok stories to tell? If you got the call, would you suit up as Martok one more time?
Oh Lord, yes.
Yeah.
You know, it's in my blood now. You do a show for even 5 years, 4 years, and then 5 years, and then other ways it's done. Like this guy doesn't even get into my blood at all from BioShock. This guy, you know,
Yes.
but I love doing Kolos. This was a Klingon lawyer
Yep.
whose main tool that he used in his legal proceedings was a 2x4. Do you know what a 2x4 is?
Oh yeah.
A large piece of lumber.
Canadians
Yep,
have 2x4s.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Canadian lawyers. Bob and I and Neil Armstrong.
Oh wow.
And that was incredible. I got a chance. He wanted to meet the Klingons.
Love it. I
What?
love
You're
that.
Neil Armstrong. What the? Our ships were made out of plywood. I had at one time I had to introduce. I didn't have to. I got a chance to because somebody didn't show up and they asked me to do it. To introduce Buzz Aldrin at an event in LA. And I said, I don't know anything about except the fact that he walked on the moon. I don't. What am I supposed to? He said, just make up something. I said, all right. So I got up there and I said, now it's my honor to introduce one of the iconic astronauts of in the history of space flight. But I said, by the way, Colonel Aldrin, the nickname Buzz, where did that come from? He said, oh, wait. I said, oh, wait. What, it was 69, right? To the moon in 69. I can see it now. Why didn't I think of it? I can see it now. There you are in the capsule headed for the moon, and you. Hey, Neil, we're going to the moon, man.
Oh my god.
And he laughed, thank God.
Good.
But what an amazing fella. But I met Neil Armstrong, spent some time with Buzz Aldrin. It's an amazing
Incredible.
life. We did a tour of Australia and New Zealand, couple. What other possibility would I have ever had to travel around the world and get paid for it?
Oh man.
It's an astounding life, and I've been just very, very lucky. Late start. I didn't start out being an actor. I didn't want to. I don't even like acting. I love directing, and I've directed mostly theater. I mean, all theater. Most of my career is directing. I ran a Shakespeare festival in upstate California, just north of
Oh, cool.
San Francisco, and south of San Francisco. I've had so many segments of delight in my life. I just have no complaints. I've lived my idea was to live 1,000 lives in the course of one, which is what an actor tries to do. And I think I've done it. Maybe not 1,000, but damn close.
I think mission accomplished, sir.
Yeah.
And
This maniacs behind you.
Yeah.
This has been an absolute pleasure. I think we're out of questions, but we know you're going to be at Trek Long Island. Are there any other event appearances you have coming up that you'd like to share before we leave?
Yeah, Trek Long Island is a biggie, and I got to ride. I've never done a cruise.
Oh, you did the cruise?
I've never done a cruise, but on the ferry ride from Bridgeport to Bridgeport, Connecticut
Yep,
to
I've done that
Port
ferry ride.
Long Island. I took film and I sent it to my agent. Thanks. I finally got on a cruise. From Bridgeport to Long Island. It was a good hour. I had a great time. Thank you. I finally got. I'm going to do a cruise next year. Next March, I guess. I
Oh,
don't know
cool.
in the spring on the Star Trek cruise. And Bob and I actually, I have a piles of papers and things. All the work, the stuff that we are putting together to do as a show. It's sort of combining a few things that we've done over the last 50 years together and do it on the cruise. And it should be good.
Oh, that's awesome.
It should be. And if it's not, I hope they give me a life preserver when they throw me off the cruise.
Klingons do not like water, JG.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
When was that established?
In Star Trek Generations, Worf gets thrown overboard on a clipper ship by accident, and he's very angry.
Was that that was the throwback 18th century?
Yeah.
Love the uniforms in that.
Right?
Yeah,
Right?
I loved it. You know that Patrick loved.
Oh,
doing
you gotta. Yeah.
Yeah.
You said that you're gonna have copies of your book at Trek Long Island, but can people find that bookstores, Amazon, stuff like that as well?
Oh, Amazon's the place to go, or you can go to the publishers are Bold Venture Press.
Okay.
And I love these guys. That's my daughter and I on the back. I wrote it as sort of well, this was back when she was 8. She's 24 now. And I wrote it as a long letter to her because she was born when I was 49. And so she had about 50 years of my life that she doesn't really know much about.
Yeah.
So I try to fill her in with those first 50, which includes all of Star Trek up until about 2000. With DS9 ended in 99. And I had just started the conventional life. So she didn't get a chance to meet much of her family on my side. Oh, this is the original map.
Oh, and there's the book.
That's the advertisement for my book.
Oh, cool.
And this is the map that was used in a made-for-TV movie called Treasure Island.
Oh, yeah.
It was
yeah.
for the opening of Treasure Island Casino Hotel in LA.
Oh, that's awesome.
They did a made-for-TV movie about this, and I played a Black Dog, the main pirate. Do you guys know, let me get rid of it now. Do you guys know Anthony Zerbe? You remember that actor?
Not me, Hawk.
Do you remember the movie Omega Man?
I've never seen
Charlton
Omega
Heston?
Man.
Charlton Heston?
Yes, that was basically the first adaptation of I Am Legend.
Yes.
Yes.
Anthony Zerbe was the main bad guy in that.
Okay, now I see him. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and he was an incredible actor. He did a zillion films. He played Long John Silver in this.
Oh.
And we have a huge stage combat fight in the film. I enter at the Mirage from the top of the Mirage theater is like 60 feet up on a rope. My character entered on a rope, coming down the rope into the scene that's going on the stage. It was the most Errol Flynn-like
I love the Errol
made.
Flynn.
If I can't wear the other, I like wearing this one.
That's wonderful.
But I'm gonna wear this and terrorize as many people as I can at the event.
I love that. I can't wait, JG. I can't wait to buy you a beer. We will see you at Trek Long Island. It takes place May 31st through June 2nd in Hauppauge, New York. Like JG said, you can still get your passes on treklongisland.com. And you can see JG on the DS9 panel on Saturday, June 1st at noon. JG Hertzler, everybody, it has been a pleasure. Thank you.
Aye, the pleasure's mine, laddies.
Aye,
We'll
yes,
see you on Long
indeed.
Island.
We
There's a
will
lot
see
of buried.
you.
There's a lot of buried shit on Long Island. You know what I'm
Yes, there
saying?
is.
And it's
Yes.
good. It's all good. SHIT.
Yes, it
Can I
is.
say that live on TV?
You
Well,
can.
that's a perfect ending for me.
That is so. We will see you at Trek Long Island. For Hawk, I am Julian, and of course JG Hertzler. Have a good night, everybody. Live long and prosper.
Live long and take their freaking boat away.